So now, Paloma, on the second part of the interview, let's focus on the future of this sector, the future of journalism. So technology now is dominating all the sectors. How can you balance its disadvantages in the world of journalism?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely here. I would maybe focus on social media because it's been a huge disruptor on journalism over the past years. And I mean, social media, like every innovation, has two sides. I mean, it can be used for good purposes or it can be used for, like self-interested purposes. So what I've experienced maybe in Asia in the past years is that the disadvantages or this like not that good use of social media can be very damaging for democracy, can be very damaging for countries. And I will put two examples. I mean, for example, in Myanmar, 2017, there was this military campaign against the Rohingya, a Muslim ethnic minority, that is being investigated because it could be a possible genocide. And social media, Facebook in particular, because Facebook is so popular in Southeast Asia, right? Was a platform where they were like, I mean, all this like racist message without control. So that really contributed to escalate the crisis. Then coming closer in time, right now in the Philippines, there are gonna be elections next week, and one of the candidates, Marcos, who is the son of Imelda and Ferdinand Marcos, the dictatorship in the 80s, has used as well social media to give an alternative version of what happened during his parents' government, which was thousands of killings, arrests, and so that's perhaps when there is no control what could happen.
Yes, well, thank you so much, Paloma, for these examples, because I guess everyone is aware of social media, but maybe not so aware of the power and the big impact that it has on such important issues. So thank you so much for that. And how do you envision the future of journalism in Singapore, in China, and is it different as the future in Europe?
I think it will be probably different depending on the interest of every country. If we go back to social media and how that can have a role in journalism as well, I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Twitter, for example, what Elon Musk will do. I mean, he has all these like grand ideas about how to operate Twitter, and it involves actually less regulation, it seems. So let's see how that goes and how then journalism and technologies, social media can coexist without damaging each other. In this particular case, maybe social media damaging journalism. We all heard about fake news, I mean, alternative facts. So it's been very interesting to actually also use this that is happening to defend a bit more why quality journalism matters, why it will still be important, and maybe even, I think so, more important, because the access to information and social media and provides so much, but you have to make a distinction between being informed or being misinformed. So I guess that's where, as journalists, we have to now be very careful and try to play a good role.
Yes, you have a great power with that, with all misinformation. So every day we're getting news about global crises, social dilemmas, the environment. Are Europe and Asia, or Spain and Singapore and China, they give weight or they highlight different news, so they give more importance, for example, to one topic or another? Are they really different, and are they're getting more and more similar, or is it still really different?
I mean, I think probably, I mean, we live in a globalized world. I mean, the narrative now is that the words, I mean, the disconnection, starting with Trump, blah, blah, but it's still a super globalized world. So there are some topics that coincide no matter where you are. Now, the importance that every country, especially in countries which have mostly like state-controlled media, like Singapore, like China, they could choose the agenda that it plays, or it fits better into their interest. No country is perfect, no system is perfect, but I mean, this is what happens here. So I think if we pay attention to current problems like Ukraine, the attention that, I mean, Europe obviously, because it's an European situation, but it will be a different focus from what we could see maybe in other parts of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, climate change, technology actually could be something that every place, I mean, will pay probably a fair amount of attention to, because it's something that brings, people together. So I think there will be some topics that perhaps increase in sharing topics, but there will always be differences for many reasons, not only the type of government, but the interest, the trade relations, right? So that's also interesting to see, and I would say as well that it might be positive, because we don't want every country, every media reporting on exactly the same. We want variety. We don't always have to focus on the same, so that's, I think, maybe an interesting part as well.
Well, thank you so much, Paloma, for all your insights and your enriching information, and I'm sure it will be really helpful to understand the future of the sector. And thank you so much for listening to getting to interview you. It's been a real pleasure.
First interview that I'm not in your side.
Well, maybe it will not be your last, so get used to this. Thank you so much, Paloma.
Thank you, pleasure.
And thank you all of you for listening to this podcast, and see you next time on the Spanish Sling.